Hey guys, welcome to the Whimsical Workshop. In this video, we're going to go back to doing the Block Mania Blog Hops. And this month's theme is all about the birds, so let's get started. Yay! So you may be familiar with my Block Mania Blog Hop patterns from last year. Here on the screen is a photo of the 12 blocks I did, now as a quilt with a full pattern coming soon. The individual patterns for each block are still available on our website. I'll put the link below. But if you're not familiar with what the Block Mania Blog Hop is, what it is each month our fearless leader, Carolina Moore, will pick a theme and a color palette that the group of designers will work with to design a block within those guidelines. On the first Tuesday of the month, we will post our blocks in our blog post and then share the links to all our fellow designers who each designed a block within that theme at the bottom of our blog post. So make sure you check that out so you can collect all of the blocks each month. So after I completed the 12 blocks shown here, I've taken a break for several months to kind of get this quilt put together and catch my breath, and then there was the holidays. But I'm finally getting back into doing the Block Mania Blog Hop, so I hope you will join us and check out the blog post over there. So last year we used Benartex Basics for all of our blocks, and I thought it gave it a nice cohesive feel overall. So this year I'm doing it again, but this year we're going to work with Century Solids from Andover Fabrics. And that's all we're going to use each month for the blocks. I did an unboxing video about these fabrics a few weeks ago, and I will definitely link that video below for you. But these solids, I love the softness and the colors. They're so vibrant. But I'm especially happy that they don't seem to fray, which is perfect for applique because you really don't want a loose woven fabric that frays on you. And this one does not do that. So here are the bright and cherry colors that we're going to be using for this month's block. So now let's get on to the design. Now that you've seen all the beautiful fabrics that we are using for the Block Mania Blog Hop this year, we are kicking off our first block of this grouping with birds. That is the theme. You saw the colors. This is our block. It is called There Is Always One. Last year we did a different animal block each month, the appliques, and they were more around events. And so I just created a really sweet applique using an animal each month to represent the event or the theme of that month. Those patterns are all still available on our website as individual patterns. You're welcome to go over. I'll put the link below. Eventually those will come down in the next few months as we work on finishing up the final pattern with all the blocks included. So you can certainly wait for that as well. So with all of that said, we are going to go back over here to our bird block. This pattern will be available free on the website for 2 months. You can go over there and download it. After 2 months, it will become a paid pattern because we're going to continue to add blocks each month, and the older ones will become paid patterns. So if you really love these and don't want to pay, jump over there and make sure you grab it while you can. But now let's talk about how this guy is going to go together. We've done lots and lots of videos on applique, but this one this month is a little more unique because I do have a template that we need to trace in 2 parts because it's longer than 8.5 by 11, and I wanted to make sure you didn't have to enlarge it, so I broke the template apart and I'm going to show you how to trace it. As always, I like to use either Hot Fix or Heat and Bond Light or Transweb. Those are fusibles I really enjoy. And this one here is Hot Fix. You're going to want to use a Sharpie ultra fine point pen because it is the blade. The tip of the pen is the same thickness as a blade on your scissors. It makes cutting so much easier. And what else do we need? I'm going to use an applique pressing sheet because with the pattern you get placement drawings. So I'm going to show you that. And first let's start tracing. So we need to trace the tree trunk. This is the trunk base and this is the trunk top. And I'm going to hold this up here so you can see it. There's the trunk base and there's the trunk top. And I even put a note on here to align this edge with that dotted line to make sure the tree template is complete before tracing. Well, we're going to trace it. So you can cut it out and tape it, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is I'm going to trace the bottom of the tree trunk, and I left myself a lot of fusible above it. And I actually didn't need to trace that line, so I'm just going to scribble that out. But I'm gonna then take this fusible down. I'm going to align that top edge with the dotted line on the tree top piece. And I'm gonna keep tracing my tree trunk. And you know what? That looks, well, let's just keep going. That looks awfully big to me, so hang on a minute. As the designer, I haven't made this yet, so we're testing the pattern. The tree trunk should measure 12.5, and look at that, 12.5, so that is correct. You always gotta double check yourself, and even double check us, even though we try very hard not to ever make a mistake. So now that I have that full piece, we're not gonna worry about that line. We're gonna fuse this on the fabric and cut the whole tree trunk out. So that is how you do that one. And then we have our tree branch, which I'm gonna trace. And then you're gonna roughly cut this out, iron it to your fabric, and then cut it out on the drawn line. And what that'll do is make sure all your edges are sealed with fusible web and you don't have any fraying. Which again, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this fabric seems to not fray very much, which I absolutely love. All right, so we got those. Okay, so I have all of my pieces here cut and ready to go, except for my tree, and I'm gonna get that cut here and get it ready for you. I'm just pushing all these pieces over to the side. There are a lot of little pieces in this quilt, that is for sure. So the tree trunk goes on graphite. And I'm going to press it. I mean, this is fabric that is solid, so there's no right or wrong, but if you're using a print, you're going to put it on the wrong side of your fabric. I apologize, these scissors are super dull, which is why I'm cutting paper with them and not fabric. And so I'm going to just iron this on. Whatever fusible product you buy, make sure you read the manufacturer's instructions to make sure that you are using the right heat temperature and that you are keeping the iron on as long as it says. And I've given up, I'm going to different scissors. There we go. All right, now we've got it. And I'm gonna go ahead and iron it. And again, that's what I meant by roughly cutting it out. So I didn't cut it on the drawn lines. And then I iron it down. And then I cut it out on the drawn lines. Now at this point, I use my fabric scissors, and I usually will go sharpen my fabric scissors so I don't worry about them going dull. But if you are very, very picky about this, just find your sharpest paper scissors so that you can get through it with the scissors. All right, let's just get rid of this. And we're gonna cut these out on the drawn line, and that will seal all these edges in glue. Okay, so now that we've got the tree trunk and the branch cut, and I have all my other pieces cut and prepped, I've gone ahead and pulled the paper off of all of them, so they're ready to assemble. So while I'm assembling this in the video, I thought I would talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the block, which is called There's Always One. And as you can see, there's one little bird hanging from the tree branch, and the other two are just sort of like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? This inspiration came from a childhood memory. When I was a little girl, we had a swing set in the backyard, and I would climb up on that swing set and hang from my knees. And I'll show a picture here of, I think it was probably like 5-year-old Heidi here hanging from the swing set. And my parents were always terrified I was going to fall and crack my head. But obviously not enough to not go grab a camera and take a picture of this, because this is one of those pictures from way back in the 70s. And this happened to be one of my mom's favorite pictures of me. As she would say, it was always explained who I was in a nutshell. I was always taking risks. I was always being a daredevil. I would always probably give her the most heart attacks doing things. I remember being on the monkey bars and swinging so hard I fell off and knocked the wind out of me. I never really thought about it. I also never really worried about the fact that I was kind of different from all my friends. I was artsy fartsy right from the get-go, and it didn't quite always fit in. And I guess I just learned to embrace it in my uniqueness. And so that is what I want to celebrate with this little bird block, is for each of us to embrace our uniqueness. It's also to celebrate the friend in your group that is the one, which is why this is called There's Always One. There is always one friend in the mix that gets everyone else in trouble. That's the daredevil that talks you into doing things that you may or may not think you would ever do. These friends can be enablers. They can be sources of strength. They, taken out of hand, they can be very, very hard to be friends with sometimes. But we all know that friend, and I would love it if you guys shared in the comments below which of your friends is that one. In our group of friends, I kind of take pride in being that one, of trying to drag everybody out of their normal safe box and try something new and different, usually involving some sort of art project or design or something. We don't do anything super crazy. That was when I was younger. I got those friends in trouble, but now I'm much more respected as an adult. But so again, I really wanted to give you a little feedback behind the block this time, because you can see I'm assembling the bird on the applique pressing sheet, and last year we did 12 of these blocks and I did 12 videos that way. So I thought this year with each of these blocks I might give you a little more behind the scenes, or talk about a theme or the inspiration behind the block. And this one was very obviously that childhood memory. I had to actually call my sister and say, hey, do you still have that photo? Can you send me a digital copy so I can include it in our video, just because I think that embraces where this design came from. I obviously didn't have someone there up on the bar holding my legs like these two little guys. I gave them a safety net, but I wanted to show that, we can all be unique and we can all be different. If you dare to think outside the box, you will be amazed at the different things you will discover in the world. Don't stop learning. Don't stop trying to be true to who you are. It is very hard to not try to conform. I know in my 30s, I felt like I had to be like all my 30-year-old friends. And then in my 40s, I was like, yeah, maybe not so important. Now I'm in my 50s. I just turned 50. I'm like, yeah, I need to be true to me and enjoy the life I have. We only are given one life. So let's live life to the fullest. Okay, so now that we have got all our trees and branches done, it's time to start assembling on our background. And I'm gonna do that by pressing the background first to make sure all the wrinkles are out of it. And then now that we've got that done, it's time to start building the block. We're gonna position the tree and the branch, and it doesn't really matter if the branch is in front of the tree or the tree is in front of the branch. It's the birds and the leaves that you're gonna really want to worry about where they're positioned. It's kind of funny when you do these trees, they always look so organic and weird, and you're not really sure how they're gonna look in the block. And then once you put everything around it, they always look pretty cute. So we're gonna do that. And then once we get everything pressed on, we're gonna go ahead and draw on the legs, and we're going to machine embroider those over at the sewing machine. So this is all a new format of video for me. I'm doing a voiceover while following the video. I'm sure you could probably tell the difference from my past videos, which gives me a chance to really think about what I'm saying, but I'm obviously just more rambling this time. But I also wonder if you like this format. Do you like hearing a story? Do you like hearing the inspiration behind the block? Or would you rather I just stick to doing a straight tutorial, stick to the facts, kid kind of thing? But I thought it would be fun to start with this one because, again, we're going to be doing 12 of these this year, and I wanted to find a different way to share these blocks with you. And here we go. There's the block all pressed down and their little feet are all drawn into place. So our next step is to move on and start picking threads for our block. Okay, so now to pick threads for the project, I recommend 50 weight cotton thread to finish your edges, and I like to do a blanket stitch. I also, in my Currently, I really like matching the thread to the fabric so I don't have a heavy outline. If you look back at my earlier work, I did everything in black and outlined it that way, but now we're matching. And if you haven't done this a lot or you haven't done it before at all, I recommend doing a practice piece before jumping into your masterpiece here. Do a heart or a star and make sure that you like the thread weight, the stitch, and the look before you jump over to your block. Whenever you're auditioning threads, it's a good idea to pull out one thread and lay it across the fabric to make sure you get the true effect of what it will look like. So if you have any questions about threads or how to pick them, make sure you leave them in the comments below. You'd be surprised, as an aura philosopher, I don't own every Aurifil thread color. So a lot of times it's just trying to find the thread that'll do the best job and not necessarily going out and buying another thread for each project. And I do use gray 50 weight in my bobbin for all of the blanket stitching. I do not change out my bobbin threads. All right, here it is. This is our There Is Always One block, ready to go for the Block Mania Blog Hop. I hope you hop over and check out our blog. I'll put the link below, and make sure to check out the links to all my fellow designers who each did adorable bird blocks. I got to see them all today for the first time. So as always, I want to thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.